Got the driver's side blocked, and I think everything's where it needs to be, except for the panel gap here. So I like the gap up here. It's probably like a 1/16 of an inch, but it gets a little too wide down here. So what I'm gonna do is put some glaze on that and try to recut that line. I'm waiting for that to cure. Found something I'm gonna use to create that line successfully, hopefully. And this is a story stick. It's how you check for flatness on a board using this face here. But I'm using this edge right here because this edge is actually thinner than a paint stick and it's much more rigid. So I'm going to wrap a piece of sandpaper around that and lightly sand it till I create that ridge or that body line. Okay, that's what I wanted right there. That's about what would be considered a good body panel gap. That's about 1/8 of an inch, and it's straight. There's a couple of little areas that I'm probably gonna have to hit with glaze, although it wouldn't be absolutely necessary because it's gonna actually be covered. This is gonna be covered by the rocker molding that I've got, but just for good measure, I might hit that little area there and down in there. But outside of that, I just put some cheapo filler primer on there just to see what it looks like. And I also took a piece of sandpaper at an angle, kind of created a little bit of a chamfer there on both sides, and that'll help preclude paint from chipping as well. So, and then in the back here, I've sanded the tailgate, and I believe it's ready as well. Pretty much everything at this point is just very, very fine tuning glaze work before the last coat of primer goes on, where it won't be block sanded, it will be wet sanded, ready for paint, ready for the epoxy sealer and then paint. So took care of these issues in the grill, the little pinch welds that were there. You can see kind of where they are based on the glaze that I put in there. So those are all taken care of. Thought about doing where they bend the metal over here, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm not bothered by that because the hood closes down on it anyway, and they definitely didn't do that at the factory. So they didn't even do the pinch welds at the factory either, but I thought it would look nicer since it's an exterior portion of a Jeep to go ahead and smooth those. So yeah, things are coming along. Put a little bit of glaze right there. That was a low area. Haven't blocked this side fully. Not gonna do that today. I'm about ready to call it a day for today. I will block this side again tomorrow. I think I've got the cowl where it needs to be as well. It's been all block sanded and everything. It's pretty smooth. Like I said, the dash is pretty much ready to go. I got the speakers on order. They should be here tomorrow. I want to make sure that the speaker cover is going to cover that whole gap. And if it runs into where the clock is, I may end up closing that up and just, smoothing that as if it were never there, because I'd rather have the speaker covers on there and looking nice than to worry about the clock. The main thing I wanted when I did those was where the tack goes. But yeah, I can take or leave the clock. So yeah, things are looking like they're about ready to be painted at this point. So this right here is probably as good a panel matching as far as being on the same plane as well as the gap. I don't even think you would have gotten it that good from the factory, but it takes a lot of time. I mean, you gotta spend a lot of time glazing and finessing that and blocking it over and over again. I can't even count the number of times I've blocked this. I'm sure this whole Jeep has been blocked at least 10 times, I would say. So substantially straighter and flatter than it was before I started. And if you recall, when the accident took place, this this rocker down here was completely buckled, and I've gotten that straightened back out again, I think. So anyhow, kind of rambling now, but it is getting very, very close. I did a mock-up on the speakers that I'm going to be running in this thing up front, and they are a 5 1/4 mm series Polk Audio. Really nice speakers, but the grill on the speaker is, first of all, the opening wasn't large enough, so I went ahead and cut that out. But if I left it where it was, the grill would be running into the stereo, you know, the head unit. So what I'm doing is I'm shifting it up slightly and over, which is going to necessitate cutting a piece here and there so I can shift the whole glove box over. And then on this other side, similar situation, still have the square cut out here. So what I've done is I've drawn lines on where I need to cut out too. And I just haven't done that yet, obviously, but this is basically going to necessitate welding in a piece here where the clock was. I'm just forgetting about the clock because the speakers are way more important to me. So yeah, I think this is going to work. It's just taking a little bit of modification. Yeah, I've got the passenger side pretty much ready. What I did is I welded in a strip about 1 3/4 inches wide, so it narrows the opening for the glove box, but that doesn't matter because I'm moving the whole glove box door down. So essentially that's what I'm accomplishing by doing this. I've got my hole cut out for the speaker, and that should be ready to go. I'm just going to make a bracket for the back side, just for extra reinforcement to hold the speakers in. And then over here on this side, I've got the hole cut out in the rough, but I need to weld in a piece that'll go across here and then radius it accordingly because it's a little bit too open down here. And then I'll have to cut a piece and tack weld to close off the clock and then smooth that over. So it'll get there. So slowly but slowly, as Bob used to say. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Woodshop Wednesdays. I got done what I needed to do on the dash, which was to cut out the holes for the speakers that are going to be there. 5 1/4 Polk Audio mobile monitor series. Really, really high-end speakers. It was worth it because I know those speakers are going to sound awesome. Everything I've ever had by Polk are incredible. So anyhow, just to recap what I did, I moved the glove box opening over 1 3/4 inches, which is why this is just squared off. It doesn't matter because when the door goes on, you're not going to see it anyhow. So it's going to look something like that. And that gives room for the speaker. And so the speaker is not running into the stereo, you know, the head unit. And then on the other side, what I had to do, in addition to cutting the hole out, is I had to weld a piece in down here so it was it wasn't too open, because otherwise it would have been at the corners. It's not perfect right there, but that doesn't really matter. The cover's going to go over it. Big thing was so I can get the space to put it in and then close in where the clock was. So basically I cut a circle I welded it, tack welded it in, then fiberglassed it, and then glazed it. So it's all shut, sanded, primed, make sure everything looks right. And yeah, so I think that's gonna work. So now I'm gonna get back on the body and finish doing the block sanding of it before I put the last coat of primer on. And so once I put these speakers in, it's gonna have a backing plate that I'm making out of some hardboard so that it gives the speaker some rigidity as it pulls against, and also will preclude the cone from touching this metal edge here, which would destroy the speaker. So it's a little spacer, maybe about that thick, probably, what would that be, maybe 3/16 of an inch. Anyhow, that's gonna do it. So we'll see you on the next episode.